A lot of people will be experiencing many different emotions now, particularly for many of us in the South Island where there have been no reports of COVID-19 cases, touch wood, so the frustration is no doubt setting in.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think people will be going up and down. There's going to be that kind of irritability or, why are we here in South Island compared to other places? I think other places in North Island might be feeling that too. But I guess until we get a full picture, some of the cases that we're seeing today are still going to be the ones that were infected or seeded before the lockdown began. So we still need a few more days. Even so, we're going to be feeling a range of different emotions. Even though we've done this before, it's been a while. We went nearly 6 months since the last level 3 lockdown. So yeah, a whole range of things. I think today what I've been hearing from other people and actually been experiencing myself has been a lot of lethargy, a lot of just kind of finding it really hard to get motivated, feeling quite tired. And that is actually an indicator that you've been under a bit of chronic stress. So, we deal with sharp peaks of stress quite well. They're quite motivating. It gets us to do things. But once that's been there for a few days, we can start to feel other things. And lethargy is one of them.
I know many of us are probably feeling quite fatigued. Is it a matter of giving our brains some time off?
Yeah, it compiles upon itself. So when you're feeling quite stressed, often you can't sleep. And so that then adds on to the feeling of stress as well. So it might be that you can't sleep, or sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night. I know that that's how it affects me and other people I talk to as well. Or perhaps you get headaches where you never used to get them before. Or perhaps your digestive system has gone haywire. The digestive system is really sensitive to stress, and often that's where we can experience it. Or you can find yourself angry or irritable or even burst into tears. And then when you think about it, you're not really sure why. You just got this kind of feeling of not being well with yourself. So all of this is kind of signs of chronic stress. And you're right, one of the things that you can do is to get some structure in some of the things that we know are going to make us feel better. So things like trying to sort your sleep out, going to bed at a regular time and trying to get up at a regular time. It's really easy on lockdowns for those routines to kind of go out of sync for even 2 or 3 days, and then suddenly we've lost our pattern. So getting our patterns back really helps when we're going through situations like this.
Yeah, why is it in your view that routine is so important for human beings to feel better?
Yeah. So if we think about the context that we're in now, what we're facing is a real set of unpredictability and uncertainty. Okay. And that's really hard for us as humans to deal with. We like being able to see into the future and figure out what's going to come next so that we can plan for it with some certainty. And then we know what's in store for us and we know how we're going to respond. So the situation that we're in now is that we don't really know. We know that we have alert level 4 and that can be containing for a little period of time. But all the other things that we want to do and think about in the future are unpredictable and uncertain. We don't know when it's going to end. So in that case, it's really important that we get certainty and predictability that we need in how we're doing our daily lives. So the routines actually become even more important when we're in a situation like this, so that we can get that chunking, that predictability in our daily life, and that helps to stabilize us as we go through day by day. And that's what we're doing at the moment, going through day by day.
And of course, it's so easy to eat too much bread or drink too much because, hey, it's lockdown. You've got advice too when it comes to a better diet.
What you eat and what you put into your body does have an effect upon your mood, but also things like your sleep and your ability to do that. So I'm not saying that you don't drink if drinking is part of how you do your life. I would say watch the amount that you're drinking, but also when you're drinking, because we know that alcohol is actually quite a noisy drug. So although you feel like you might need some before you go to sleep, it actually, when your body finishes processing it, it kind of wakes up. You get very, very alert. And then your body is saying, I've processed that now, and now I'm ready for sleep, because it's actually been working in the background. The other thing that we know is that actually food doesn't get digested until the alcohol's been processed too. And so when you process your food, when it's digested, you wake up then as well. So as well as the stress waking you up, you've also got all your bodily processes as it deals with everything waking you up. So that's how it interrupts your sleep. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have treats. I'm just saying you need to watch out if that's becoming your main meal. So you really need to try and get that balance and thinking about, well, when are you eating as well? Sticking to your normal meal times is the best thing. It's another kind of routine that you can do whilst you're in lockdown.
And I know these things can help take the edge off, but what about for those of us who are unclear of the next paycheck, or our financial situation is just looking incredibly dodgy? Those types of future thinking ways must be pretty tough on people.
Yeah, and it's a serious issue, right? I know that in the Canterbury earthquakes, people were really disturbed, not by necessarily earthquakes, although that was frightening for many people and continues to be. We know it was actually the EQC kind of insurance quagmire that they were stuck in, and how it was that they were going to get themselves out of that and deal with their finances, say, for example. And that was the thing that really stressed people out. And I think here, one of the things that stresses people out is things like income. Things like what's going to happen with my business in the future, particularly if you're, in primary industries, or you're relying upon supplies in contracting, you can't get hold of them like you used to, or they're really expensive, or you just don't have the footfall of traffic that's going to come through where you're going to be able to, generate the revenue and pay your bills. All of that's really important. So, and stressful if it's not coming through. So I would say, reach out, make sure that you are applying for all the funds that you can in terms of any kind of government support that's being offered. But then really think about your financial planning, getting as much advice that you can, and controlling the things that you can control, and not worrying so much about the things that you can't right now. When we get through this alert level period, and then we see how we exit that, and hopefully vaccination numbers start going up really high, that's when some big decisions are going to need to be made. So you need to make sure that you're in a good position mentally and physically in order to be able to make some good decisions according to whatever situation that we find ourselves in at that point.
And it's probably really important to try and not catastrophize, because we don't know what we don't know. And I know many people will be feeling stressed out about the future.
Yeah, and then the danger is that if we're already feeling tired, then those what-if kind of scenarios, we can catastrophize really easily. And that's not to say that this is not a difficult situation. Of course it is. But we can think of the worst-case scenarios as if that they are going to come true. And it's probably going to be somewhere in between being okay and your worst-case scenario. It's going to take some work to get there for most people. So what I urge people to do is to really take care of that basic day-to-day living for now, and make sure that you're going to be in a good space to tackle those challenges as they come through in the future, but also making sure that you're reaching out and getting all the help and assistance that you can.
Really appreciate your insight this evening. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, my pleasure, Chris, and take care out there, everyone.